think we're ready to get started if you are.
Sure.
You were good? Okay, so super easy. We basically just ask you questions and you answer them as best you can. And the point is to help people along the way, you know, anywhere in their career. I think we can all learn from each other. So,
oh my God, yeah.
And especially for new people who aspire to be cappers, it's kind of like, well, how did you get there? So let's start kind of from the beginning of your real estate career. Quick, what were you doing beforehand? And then how did you get into real estate?
Well, it's going to sound really, really, really weird what I did beforehand. So I used to sell knives, Cutco knives.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
My brother sold those.
I did that for 5 years, which was so crazy. It was all throughout college. I was like the knife girl. Like I would have a suitcase full of knives and like show up at people's doors and sell knives.
Really,
it was
like knock on doors and be like, hi, would you like to?
Well, it was luckily like it wasn't strangers' houses. It was all referrals. Like I would go to your house, sell you knives, and then you would refer me to somebody, and then I would call them and set up the appointment. But I would legit show up with a suitcase full of knives. It was really bizarre. I'm still like shocked people like I even did that.
But you know,
what did you say?
I was just thinking like it probably helped you so much in getting into real estate because you got over all of that fear of approaching people and talking to people and putting yourself out there.
You have no idea how valuable that doing that job was. Like it was crazy. I did it for 5 years. Then I started like a fair and show team. So I had like a booth set up at like all like the New York State Fair. It was wild, but it was actually really fun because there was other people in Rochester and like all around New York who would do it too. And it was a really good time. And then once I got out of college, I decided I did not want a normal job because I loved doing Cutco, like making my own schedule. And the whole reason why I was able to get into people's houses was because they offered a scholarship to school. So to college. So by the time I got out of college, what?
Cutco did?
Yeah, Cutco. I got 5 scholarships from Cutco. I know, which was crazy. But then once I got out of college, I was like, all right, I am not going to be able to use the whole scholarship trick. And now it's just going to look weird if I'm calling them to set up a knife appointment.
Right.
So I was like, okay, what can I do that's like, I still make my own schedule and I determine my own success and so on and so forth. So that's why I decided to get into real estate. And I started out at Howard Hanna. Okay. And I was at a couple different companies. So it was Nothnagel at the time. Yep. Started out there, was on a team. Okay. And then I was there for 2 years, then switched to ReMax, and I was on a team there as a buyer's agent. Okay. And that's actually on that team. It was Nunzio Salafia's team for those of you who wanted to know. And then that's where I met Fallon, and she was also on Nunzio's team. And I was on that team for almost 7 years, which was crazy. Like Nunzio was awesome. Like he taught us everything. Really? And so then just randomly one day, Fallon and I were like, we should like be our own team. So we met we were at Panera just like discussing it and we're like, all right, let's do it. Okay. And so that's how it happened. And now we're the Property Girls team. What made you decide? Because so you've never actually been a solo agent. You've either been on a team or you've been a team that you have been heading up. But there was never a window of time where you were like this, like lonely fish swimming all by yourself. I know. And I wish I started my team sooner or was an individual agent sooner because I don't know, I just felt like I needed to be always like on a team. Right. I didn't really think I could ever be a team leader. Right. It's like crazy. And so then I got more confident in the idea of it when pretty much like all the people that I was working with was my own personal referrals. Right. So that's when I was like, okay, well, I can do this. Yeah, absolutely. So before you got to the team, like what do you feel like you learned from being on a team? Like what were the most important things Nunzio taught you as far as being a good real estate agent and growing to a point where you felt comfortable enough to be on your own team? Yeah, I mean, so our team now is a lot different. Like Fallon and I made it so much more structured where the team we were on before like wasn't really structured, which is not a bad thing. That's just, you know, the way that team was, but we had no idea like what we were missing out on kind of a thing. Yeah. But that kind of was nice because at the time, because it like forced us to like find our own ways to get business and so on and so forth. I don't know. He was like a walking encyclopedia too. So whenever like we had questions or anything, like he just knew the answer. It was crazy. But
Right.
he didn't even have like a listing presentation or anything, believe it or not. Like he would just go in and wing it. So when we started our own team, we're like, we should probably like have something to show people.
Right. Prove that we know what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Too funny. So what did you do back then though, when you were newer, to get agents? Like, so for the newer agents out there, like, how were you spending your days in the beginning, trying to get people to trust you to, use them for real estate?
At that point in time, it was literally all Zillow leads pretty much. So he would have Zillow leads for us, and then we would have to meet with them and convert them and so on and so forth. And then of course, like my own sphere of influence. So I was always like constantly, having conversations with people and making everyone fully aware that I was a real estate agent.
Yes. So. Well, that's interesting too. Like, because people say that, everyone's like, well, I told everyone that I knew, but was it the calling them in a kind of a regular way, or was it just being out there? I mean, how did you let your sphere know that you were an agent?
Well, in the very beginning, like when I first started, I sent everybody a letter, and to let them all know, but this was literally 11 years ago, which was crazy. Like I would do it differently now. Like you don't really need to send, maybe you could still send a letter, but you could do things on like Facebook and email and so on and so forth.
Right.
God, it's crazy. Like that was 11 years ago. And so for me, like, I don't really call people and say like, hey, I'm in real estate. Like, who do you know? I don't know. It's just really not like my style.
Right.
I'm more of like, I like to bring it up within the conversation. Like I talk to the people and kind of try to get to know them. And then eventually they're going to ask me like, what do you do for a living? And then that's how it kind of like gets brought up. And then I just talk about stuff like, cause I'm like huge into investing in real estate myself. So I have like a ton of properties that I buy, renovate, and rent out. So that has also helped me to kind of like in a nonchalant, non-salesy way, like kind of just talk about real estate and get in their head. Okay, she actually like knows what she's doing and knows what she's talking about.
Right. Absolutely.
And then I strategically, which this doesn't seem like something that should be important, but I'll find anyone that I talk to, whether it's like a Zillow lead or even like someone that I meet out, like if I'm at a restaurant or something, like I'll find them on Facebook and I'll friend them.
Okay.
And so now I'm always showing up on their newsfeed, real estate. So it just reminds them and keeps in their mind that I'm doing real estate.
Absolutely. So back to the Zillow leads a little bit, because you said that was in the beginning how you kind of got started, but I don't think that everybody, like just because you're getting a Zillow lead doesn't mean you're doing anything with it, right? So did you have to stalk your Zillow leads, or did you call them once? Was there a system? Like, what's the best way to approach a Zillow lead?
So at the time, I'm going to be like completely honest, we really didn't have like any systems, which is horrible to say. But like the key for the Zillow lead is you have to call right away, because the way that Zillow works, like it's being sent out to multiple realtors. Right. So it's really like, it was all about efficiency for us. So as soon as we would get the lead, we would just have to call it ASAP and then shoot them a text. I would always email them too. And we would be getting so many that I didn't really have to keep following up with each one like 20 times. It was right. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah, you didn't need to catch everyone because there were so many coming in.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because now I wonder if it's the same. There's so many more people on Zillow now. Like, there's not as many leads coming in unless you're paying thousands and thousands of dollars for them, Yeah,
I mean, we're still getting a decent amount of leads, and I wouldn't say we're spending thousands of dollars on them. And that's how, like, Jillian, for instance, is building a lot of her business right now, is through the Zillow leads.
Okay. So you still find that they are quality leads out there?
We still see a return on investment, and our team is really good about tracking.
Right.
Because we don't want to spend that money if it's not. I mean, obviously, eventually our goal is to get completely out of internet leads and just work solely by referral. But we're not 100% there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is your day look like as far as like how you structure your day? Are you a systemized person? Are you kind of a fly by the seat of your pants person? You have the lead gen like we're all being told to do, the time blocking lead gen time? Or I know you're in a little bit different stage of your business too, because you're running a team, and so you're not necessarily the active agent, but it still helps to know how you run your day. How you?
Yeah, my team's gonna like laugh because like Phelan and I are polar opposite. Like Phelan's like perfect for the capper because she'll be like, oh yes, I have systems, I have this in place, I do this, I do that, I time block, blah, 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 blah. And then there's me who's like flying at the seat of my pants. But yeah, no, I basically, so I'm like more like out and about, like that's how I do my lead gen, and I'm always like having conversations with people. And then we have a loyalty club. I don't know whoever's not familiar with that. I know Chelsea's team does it too. We learned it from Perk Your Sphere book, which I would all recommend. If you guys are really into working with your sphere and stuff, that's a really awesome book and where we learned all about this. But yeah, no, I'm just constantly like so basically my day is I wake up, I try to go to the gym, I make breakfast, and then I'll start doing calls like about our client loyalty club. So if we have like giveaways or something like that, whoever the winners are, like I'll call and conversate with them. And the winners are always people that are in our database.
Right.
So I love it because it's me giving something to them. And then they always end up bringing up real estate. So then we'll like kind of talk about that. And I'll be like, yeah, like, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell? And then it's more of like a casual conversation where I'm not calling them to annoy them and like ask like, hey, who do you know?
Right.
Because they probably are not going to pick up the phone again for me like months down the line if I'm constantly calling them like that.
Right.
So yeah, so usually my calls, if I am calling them and I'm not in front of them or at like some sort of an event with them, is usually about making sure they're fully aware that they won and that they're either going to come pick up their giveaway or we're going to mail it to them or so on and so forth. So it's kind of like a little strategic way of us doing lead gen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then another thing that we have been doing that Phelan's coach, I think, taught her was called acceleration cycles. Have you ever heard of those?
Mm-mm.
So they're really, really cool. And we kind of have a sheet and I can send it to whoever wants it. But so we found obviously, like, as you can tell, like the majority of our lead gen is all from like our database and sphere and so on and so forth. So what we'll do is we'll take 30 minutes and we'll go on social media and we'll look at people or our friends or whatever and we'll comment like on their posts, because there's an algorithm out there that says so we've heard that if you comment on people's posts, you'll show up more on their news feed when you post something.
Right.
So, and plus too, like you're always like staying top of mind to your friends and your family when you're commenting on their stuff too, because they're like, oh, Danielle just commented.
Right.
So yeah, we'll spend like 30 minutes. So the acceleration cycles is, I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. So 30 minutes on social media, 30 minutes doing like a personal note of some sort, whether I'm like saying thank you to a listing appointment or thank you to someone who just closed, something like that. 30 minutes where I call like all my current and active clients just to like touch base with them. And then 30 minutes where like I'll take a look at my pipeline and see who I have coming up or any leads that I've gotten that I need to follow up with. And I'll take 30 minutes to like follow up with all of them. Okay. And then, yeah, so those are the acceleration cycles. And that's what I found have been like the most effective when I do lead gen.
Okay, that's awesome actually, because I've never heard anything like that. I mean, you hear those things, but it's a good way because anyone can do pretty much anything for 30 minutes, right? It's not overwhelming to do all of that. So
yeah, and the rule is for our team, like we're supposed to turn off the sound on our cell phones and just kind of like focus for those 30 minutes.
Okay. And is that something you put in place for all of your team members who are in charge of lead gen?
So we did. I mean, we're always like trying new things, honestly. And now like everything with COVID and how we're not in the office all the time, like there was a point in time where we were all in the office doing it together, but now everybody's kind of on their own and doing it, at their own pace and at their house.
Right. And I think that you guys almost more than anybody that like visibly out there, like just kill it in the Facebook.
Oh, thank you.
You do, for sure. So is that like a big push for you guys specifically? I think like events, I think of you guys, I think like fresh events, like out there in Facebook, young. So, I mean, is that kind of the vibe you're going for? And is that how you get most of your business? Through like those sorts of things?
Yeah, I mean, because like our main focus is trying to get business referral based.
Right.
So yeah, so I mean, doing the client events and doing the giveaways in the loyalty club, that's our way of trying to get referrals from our past clients, current clients, friends, family, and so on and
Right,
so
right.
forth.
Okay.
And yeah, and then social media, of course. I mean, everyone's on social media now, so we are consistently doing like Facebook ads and so on and so forth.
So you do the Facebook ads and get Facebook leads from that?
Yeah, I mean, those leads aren't leads that usually pan out right away. We have to usually nurture them. But yeah, I mean, some of them have panned out, and we'll get people who will private message us on Facebook and stuff. So whoever does not have a business page needs to immediately set one up because everyone is on Facebook.
So that's a good point too. Where do you guys feel about like the personal page versus the business page when it comes to kind of getting the word out there? Because people have different thoughts on that.
Well, in our particular situation, everything pretty much goes on our business page. And then, I mean, because we've heard different algorithms too, whereas if you share something from a business page on your personal page, it doesn't show up on a lot of people's news feeds. You have to actually write the post yourself. I'm not sure how true that is.
Right.
So we kind of just do like, I don't know, we kind of like switch it up, but I try to consistently share all of my business page posts. And then sometimes like I'll write my own post and so will the girls too. So.
Okay. So you do like a mixture of both, but probably primarily put everything on the business page first.
Pretty much everything is, if it's for sure on the business page, and then I'll either kind of mimic the exact same post and just post it myself, or
Right.
I'll just share it.
Okay.
But no matter what, whatever's on my personal page, it's always going to be on the business page.
Okay. Yeah. So everything's on the business page. Yeah, no, absolutely. And that actually leads me to a question with that 30, with the commenting on Facebook. Do you think it matters if you're commenting as the property girls or as Danielle when it comes to getting people to see your posts?
Oh, I always comment as myself.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So whatever I end up posting, yeah. I don't know. That's a really good point though. I don't know if I even can like comment as the property girls team. I've never even tried to do that.
Yeah, well, I was thinking like, well, if you're doing all this stuff on your, property girls page, but you're posting as Danielle, are they connecting to each other? Like, is that making more people see your property girls page?
That's the hope. That's why I'm sharing hopefully people click and like us.
I think you're doing fine.
Yeah,
Where
once
you guys now,
when you show up.
I see you plenty. So where are you now with your team? So it's you and Fallon, and then how's the rest of the team structured? How many buyers agents? How many?
Okay, so the route we decided to go is we wanted to also like specialize in something. So it started out originally, obviously, just me and Fallon. And then we decided, okay, we probably should hire an assistant. So then we hired an assistant. And then we switched over to Keller Williams because at this point we weren't at Keller Williams yet. And Keller Williams is, I can't like say enough about it. Like it's freaking awesome. I love Keller Williams so much. I definitely drink the Kool-Aid now. But yeah, no, Keller Williams is like chatting with like Lisa Wasson and doing all like the masterminding with like the different ReMakers and stuff has been extremely helpful, which I would highly recommend everybody to like either join a mastermind or start a mastermind just to like learn from everyone. But that's where we kind of learned like how to build the business. And also too, like we hired coaches.
Okay.
So yeah, it's me and Fallon and an assistant right now. And then we have Alicia, who's on the call. I can see you. Hi. She's our newest hire. She is an ISA. So she's going to be the one, anytime we get like a Zillow lead or calling like our Sphere database and stuff like that, she's going to be handling that.
Okay.
And setting up appointments for us, which is really exciting. So myself and Fallon do listings only. And then we have 3 buyer's agents. And then we have Lindsay, who I think is on here. She's our director of operations. And then we have Jamie, who does all of our marketing. So she does all of the Facebook stuff. And then we have Samantha, who's our transaction coordinator.
Okay. Okay. So it's grown to quite a team. So if a listing comes in and it comes from one of the buyer's agents, you guys automatically get it.
Yep. So if a listing comes in, then I get it. And then same thing. If I get a buyer referral, it goes to them.
Okay. And how do you and Fallon like divide and like your roles? Because you're very different personality types. So I imagine you'd be suited to different types of running the business.
Everyone says that, but I feel like we're kind of similar. But she'll disagree. Very similar, like from like chatting with people wise, but from a business standpoint, we're very different. Wait, what was the question about her?
Do you have different roles? Like you're like, I'm in charge of this part and Fallon's in charge of this part. Like,
well, it kind of over time we've figured it out, because in the beginning we were both doing everything, which we were like, what the heck are we doing? Like, this is so, we need to split stuff up. So I'm primarily doing all the listings. She does some listings too, but I've been doing the majority of them. And then she's kind of more like on the back end, like helping with the hiring, and she does listings too.
right.
And then also like helping hold the agents accountable and so on and so forth.
Okay. So there's some division of like, you know, what you guys do, so you're not stepping on each other's toes and all
yeah,
that.
Luckily it's worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Once we figured out like what our roles were, it's been smooth.
That's awesome. I remember the first time I think I ever came to a KW meeting, which was it was an office meeting where I ended up deciding to join KW, and somebody was making some speech about how partnerships didn't work, and you two were just like sitting right there and you're like, well, we're doing fine.
I know, I remember that exact moment actually. Yeah, no, it's so true. Like I can literally see why partnerships would not work out, because if Fallon and I if Fallon and I had the same personality from a back end and from like a business standpoint, it would not work out. It's the way somehow God like put us together and it ended up like being magical and it like worked out. But we've always said like from the very beginning, like if you have beef or if you have a problem, like just come to me right away. And that's what we've always done. And then we just figure it out.
That's awesome. So back to like solo agents, because a lot of the people watching are solo agents. Do you have any advice for them? Like if you were a solo agent right now, knowing what you know, how would you be spending your time? Because obviously it's different than how you currently spend your time. Where would you focus your energy and let the other stuff kind of slide?
I don't even know, because I've never been a solo agent. I would have no freaking clue. No. I guess, I mean, I would just find what is your forte and like what interests you as far as finding clients, whether it's calling, well, right now you can't really do this, but you know, for sale by owners or expireds or Zillow leads or Trulia leads or your own sphere, and kind of like figure out like whatever your niche is and whatever makes you the most comfortable, and kind of just focus on that and just go all in.
Okay. So you believe in the niche, like as far as like, you know, I've not mastermind, family reunion, they were all about like micro focusing, right? Like choosing a town and really like focusing all your energy on that. Do you guys like go with that approach, or are you kind of like everywhere?
So, I mean, as far as like picking a town, we don't go that approach at all. But as far as what our focus is for the lead gen, yes, none of us have ever called a for sale by owner or an expired. Yeah, that's just really not our thing. We tried the whole farming thing. It didn't make us excited. So, you know, our main focus has been on the internet leads and then our sphere of influence.
Okay. And that's what they say, right? They say
Referrals.
pick 2 or 3 and kind of really focus on that. So it makes sense. You've chosen those 2 that work for you. Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, like our end goal is to hopefully eventually not even have to do Zillow or Realtor.com leads.
Right. And just be 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I know nervous, like, oh my gosh, I have to spend so much money on these Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads. And my advice to you is you reach out to like vendors that you have given a lot of referrals to, mortgage reps, attorneys. They can all throw in and help cover the costs for these leads for you.
Okay. Do you do that a lot? Try and get, you know, your vendors to help you pay for things?
Yes, all the time. So like we always are getting sponsored, like our loyalty club is sponsored. And actually, as horrible as COVID was, it kind of helped us, it helped us figure out like our life situation basically now. No, like it helped us really, really, really focus on what we were spending our money on and come up with creative ways like asking vendors to help sponsor more, to help with the budget.
Do you ever get them to say no?
Not that I can think of. No.
You're like, no, no.
The reason why they don't say no though is because we're always referring them anyways. And we totally understand if for some reason like we haven't given them a ton of referrals and they're still paying us, we go to them and we're like, we totally get it. Like it doesn't make sense for you right now to continue to keep paying into this because we're not giving you enough referrals, kind of a thing. So we make sure it's fair, and we try to use the same vendors too, and so that when we do ask them for things, they always say yes.
Yeah, you're like that. They always do. I love it.
You have to consistently use these people, like even your inspector. Like we always try to use the same couple of inspectors. We always use the same couple of attorneys. And then we have like a preferred vendor list that we have too, and they're fully aware that they're on that, so things like that help the cause.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so smart because it does help them too, right? They want to get their name out there and they're happy to help support you, which is great. Awesome. Yes, exactly. I want to deviate a little bit. I had a question here and I'm curious too, is how did you start getting into investing and flipping?
Oh man. Well, I started listening to I was like, well, first of all, okay, I don't have like a 401k or anything like that. So what the hell am I going to do?
No retirement.
Yeah. Well, I do have like investments and stuff like that. Like I did know to start that early on. Thanks to St. John Fisher in my financial class. But yeah, no, I was like, all right, I need to diversify my portfolio. And so I just started listening to podcasts. My favorite one is called The Bigger Pockets. And that's the podcast that like really taught me literally everything. Yeah. And so I did my first one and I started getting rent and I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So then it just kept going from there.
All right. How long into the business do you think you were before you started that?
So all of them I bought within the past 3 years.
Okay. So this is fairly recent for you.
Yeah. But I wish I started this way sooner.
Really?
Way sooner. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and the nice thing is, it kind of protects you from whatever happens in the industry, right? Because, as things change, you still have that,
Yeah, exactly. And it's nice to have more than one because if like COVID, for instance, affected one of my tenants. So it's nice to have the other ones to help offset the one that was having difficulty paying, so.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, well, I don't think you'd know how to do that. Investing.
Know how to do that. Oh my gosh. That's funny.
You know what? My question was, I had questions ahead of time, and one of was how if you were just Danielle the agent, how would your life look now if you hadn't, been part of Property Girls team?
I would probably be overworked, crying in the corner. No, I don't know. Just Danielle, I honestly had no idea because I've always been on a team and I'm such like a team girl that I don't know. I don't think I'd want to do it alone. Like I love being around positive people and learning from everyone, and I'm just a team girl. So
no, which is awesome, and it's obviously worked for you guys and you found a way to make it work. Do you think that there's a place out there for solo agents, or do you think that we're slowly just moving towards teams in real estate?
I think there's always a place for solo agents for sure. And they, I'm sure, have arguments in like their listing presentation of why you should go with an individual agent versus a team.
Sure. That's just good salesmanship.
Like you, I'm sure. And vice versa.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like the team thing is just becoming the future. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's always going to be individual agents too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. How about biggest mistakes you've ever made in real estate?
I don't know, so many. Like from like my investment standpoint or from
just anything, like anything I guess maybe I'll reword the question. Is there anything you wish you'd known when you started real estate, that you would have done things differently in the beginning? I know one of the things you said is you would have gone off as a partnership or on your own earlier.
Yeah, right? That's definitely one thing. I would have probably interviewed around other companies sooner. I didn't start at Keller Williams.
No, I mean, you actually went through two companies.
So that was a big mistake. I probably would have gotten further quicker had I started
you think?
At Keller Williams, honestly.
What was the big decision for you guys to come to Keller Williams? Like what made you switch? Because ReMax, has a decent pricing structure, so it probably wasn't that necessarily. What made you come over?
So it's funny because I really loved ReMax. So did Fallon. Like we both were like, oh, we'll never leave.
Right.
And then we started seeing certain agents leaving and going to Keller Williams, and we're like, what the heck is going on? So we decided to set up an interview with Lisa Wasson, and we met with her and kind of just like got the structure, and we were pretty much sold at that point.
Okay.
And we decided to make the switch originally just because with the amount of volume that we were doing, it was going to make more sense financially. But then once we got over to Keller Williams, it ended up being so much more than just like a financial win, because we just learned so much like from all the training and everything. And Fallon and I are really big into going to like literally every like conference and like family reunion and stuff like that. So it ended up being so much more than just money.
Right. Which is awesome.
You know.
And again, like none of the companies are bad, right? But it's all about culture and finding the one that fits you best, right?
Exactly. And that's what I tell everyone, like that, yeah, every company is completely different, and whichever one makes you feel at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys work the profit share angle? Do you bring downline into the company?
Oh yeah. Yes. We always are trying to meet with people, and yeah, we do have people in our downline.
Okay.
But not because we're trying to make money, honestly. It's just from like being excited about Keller Williams and just sharing our story, really. And then it ends up being easy, and then you end up making money.
Which is a win-win, right?
It's a win.
Oh my gosh, you're funny. So clearly you're like a super social person. Do you try to target how you spend your time to like maximize, networking, or are you just out there and it all just happens?
So I don't necessarily like time block my dinners and stuff like that. But I guess I would say I'm always trying to just like consistently just have conversations and not just stay home and like hide my face behind a computer or, like I'm always just trying to be out there. And, we have our client events, like I mentioned before, and then here, like I'm little things like going on the rooftop and just having conversations with people, and then finding them on Facebook and friending them and, keeping in touch that way and going out to dinner and, like just always just trying to have conversations with people and finding them and then adding them to our database.
Okay, so it sounds like you really don't go out and actively ask for the business a lot. You're just present. You're just in their sphere as much as you possibly can be in a relaxed and conversational way. And that ultimately just leads to business.
I do ask for business though. Like once they're in our loyalty club and I'm calling them to let them know that or to ask if they're going to come to our event, or to invite them to an event, or to let them know that they won, one of our giveaways. At that point, usually like at a client event, we'll do like a contest or something like that. And I'll say, hey, like we're doing a contest. Like if you know anybody who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, like please, let me know, because we'll give you extra chances to win the Google Home giveaway that like an attorney just gave us or something.
Right.
Things don't have to cost like a lot of money.
Right. Especially if you use the sponsorship angle, like it sounds like you guys try to as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Where do you see the Property Girls team in 5 years? How does it look 5 years from now?
Fallon and I are supposed to meet in a few weeks to talk about that.
We'll let you know.
Our goal setting. I don't know. It's like crazy. I don't know. We've talked about like expansion teams. So we were thinking about like maybe that. Obviously, I hope our team keeps growing. Even like our team growing within. So not necessarily like adding more individual agents on, but even helping like the buyer's agents on our team grow too, like, hiring showing assistants and so on and so forth. So things like that, which we're working on right now with one of our buyer's agents, Kristen. She's working on hiring a showing assistant.
Oh, okay.
So even like growing within the team.
Okay. Now that's an interesting thought. I'd never really thought about with buyer's agents. Do you tend to like hire them thinking, oh, well, they'll probably stay with us for a little while, but eventually they'll grow and want to go on their own? Or are you really hoping to find?
They have to stay with us forever. No, honestly, no, we hire them. So I guess we don't really have like a method to our madness as far as hiring. Like, with Kristen, we just randomly were looking through a list of like new agents that joined the GRER and found her that way.
Right.
Stalked her on Facebook. Took her away from another team. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Jillian was a brand new agent, and so was Julie, a brand new agent. I mean, obviously our hope is that through our team, they can build like their life worth living. We would hate to see them leave, but of course we would never hold them back, whatever they decide to do.
Okay. I know that when I was starting out as an agent, I interviewed a couple of teams, and one of them was so great. And she's like, listen, like, I only ask that you stay at least 3 years, because I'm going to give you a lot. And I thought that was fair, right?
Well, I'm hoping to, and I think the girls do. I mean, I would think that they find like extreme value in our team and everything that our team has to offer. And that was one thing that Fallon and I, like, that was like our mission when we first started the team, is that we wanted our team to be extremely valuable to whoever was on it. Because looking back, like the teams that we were on before were kind of just like all over the place. Mm-hmm. But we didn't even know any better because we were never an individual agent, and we were never on another team that had it all together,
Right.
So yeah, that was like one of our main goals, is to just make sure like we have extreme value for them.
Yeah. Sounds like culture, even within your own little group, is important to you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We're always doing like fun team events, which we have to plan more. Not ever since COVID hit, we haven't been doing as much, but we did like a team Zoom happy hour, and we obviously Zoom every week for our team meeting. So.
Right. Okay. Anybody have any questions out there? I know we had the flipping one. I think, would you ever be open to teaching a class on investing?
Oh, I was actually thinking about that. Yeah, I would love it.
Really?
Yeah, I think I would actually really like it.
Yeah, I know. Well, good. And I'll be calling you for that, because I think a lot of people are interested in it and don't really know even where to begin, Yeah,
and like, honestly, I've messed up so many times that's why I'm like, I just need to like share my information, because if I can save someone from messing up, even one time, then that would be great.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome. Alicia, we already have 2 people coming to your class, so that's good.
Oh, yeah. Where did you see that?
In the chat feature. Alicia's coming. I'm coming.
Oh, cool.
I still haven't seen the DIY first time flippers yet.
It is literally a comedy show.
I can't wait to see. I tried to find it the other day on my phone and it wouldn't pop up, so I got to go back.
It made us come off like little idiots.
Well, that's what they're supposed to do. It's supposed to make you be like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing.
That's awesome.
It was
I love it.
3 years ago. That was forever ago.
Yeah, that's crazy that it took as long to get on as it did. So,
I know.
How did you even?
I thought we were way better TV than they apparently thought.
You did get there eventually. Oh my gosh. Too funny. All right. Well, this has been awesome. Does anybody else, before we let Danielle go, have any questions out there? Anyone? All right. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And if anybody ever has any questions, just reach out. I'm happy to share.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Danielle.
Okay, have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.